just wanna be free with my people to prosper and hold it down. Don't you sit and wait, contemplating on a revolution. The time is now. I just wanna be free. 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 Can't you see? I just wanna be free.
Okay, another episode of the Things I Wish I Knew About Money podcast. I'm your host, Camille Smith, and I have a new setup. And I'm excited to bring on my host, my guest, Mr. Hezzy. Welcome.
Welcome.
I'm really excited for this this platform and all that stuff. You know, me moving on up.
Of course, I can see it. That's great. That is so great. Congratulations for your setup.
Thank you. And how are you doing on this beautiful Saturday?
I'm blessed, very blessed to here with my little guy over here, my big man over here, and we're just chilling out, relaxing. So very grateful for you to, give us this opportunity to elevate.
Yes. Absolutely. And I want to mention how we met. So big up Christopher Lawrence as usual. Yes. We were able, we missed you on the second network event, but we were able to link up on the first one. And, we were like co-neighbors and all that great stuff. And not only did I hear what you said at the network event, but before we went on with you being on the IG live, it was amazing. You being an educator and all that great stuff, and I just wanted you to let the folks know who you are. Big up yourself.
Exactly. Well, big up myself. My name is Hezzy. Hezzy, exactly. I got Cody in the building today, and I go by Hezzy, the elevated one who is called to elevate the nations and raise the vibration on the planet, right? By using art, using books. I create books. So this is my newest book, Truly Meriden Presents Self-Care Sundays. They also have You Can Be, which tells the young people that they can be anything. And then Afro Pick Adventures presents the incredible Genius Imhotep. Oh, then there's the better looking version of myself, Junior Hezzy. All right, This is Cody in the building. All right, so say hi to everybody, Cody.
Hey. Welcome, young prince and all that good stuff. Thank you for blessing the stage as well. It's an honor. And so when did you start? So you said, which was the first book again? Because I know you have the self-care Sundays.
Yes.
Sundays is always a great day to have some self-care,
Right.
But you can, and that book looks very familiar.
Yes.
I purchased one for my nephew, so I was really happy that I was able to, give him a book and all that great stuff, because it's a great way to show people or show the youths that they can be anything they want. And what inspired you to make that book, first of all?
Well, the message came when I was younger, a lot younger than this guy. And my dad would always let me know that I can be anything I put my mind to. So then that always stuck in my mind, stuck in the subconscious mind. So I said, you know what? Let me just write a book for some other young people and let them know that they can be anything that they put their mind to as well. So inside of the story, it talks about a range of different careers. Screen boss. Exactly. Okay, there's C right there. Yeah. So then there is. It just talks about the different careers that young people can choose, young brothers can choose, right? Or the whole world can choose and be motivated and elevated. Yeah.
Absolutely. So I'm glad, and you know what? I'm glad you said that your father showed that to you as well. Interesting. I want to big up big up you on in June, because the month of June is Father's Day.
Thank you.
So I actually kind of wanted to have like this month, like men coming on, just expressing their leadership, and their support of being an active father. So as we could see with all the noises and all that good stuff, we could see that you're an active dad and all that good stuff. So what inspired you with the other ones?
Okay, perfect.
The other
So I'll
books?
jump right back on that theme of yours. So
Mm,
this one, I have 3 children. So I
okay.
wrote a book for each child, right? So
Nice.
this one is for well, it's for all of them, but it just, I said it, as I'm writing, I want to write a book for each child. So this
Yes.
one, You Can Be, is my first one for my first child over there, Kodesh. So You Can Be was when I was writing it. I was thinking about him. Really want to let the messages that are inside of these books go on to the next generation, right? So this is You Can Be. We talked
Absolutely.
about that one. Then after I wrote You Can Be, I wrote this one. Afropic Adventures presents the incredible genius Imhotep. And this one was
Nice.
done with Sadante Curry. This one was done with Top Peg Animation in the
Okay.
Philippines. But this one now, I wanted to spread the message of genius,
Hmm.
tying back into being an educator, that all of us have a particular type of genius inside of us. So
Yes.
now I feel it's our job now as the educators and elevators is to excavate the richness that lies there within the young people. So that's why I
Absolutely.
also wrote this one here that highlights Imhotep, right? And highlights the world's first historian. And you see that, here's the picture here. You see Nick here. Nick goes through a portal and
Hmm.
to see and learn about ancient Egypt, and he starts to learn about Imhotep. All right,
Yes.
so Imhotep, he who comes in peace. So we wanted to get this book out here. That was my second one. Keep spreading the messages. And when I was
Yes.
at that same event with you, I had another sister coming up, and she's like, yo, Benjamin, we have to get something for the sistren. You know, and stop, yo, Benjamin. So I said, okay, sister,
Exactly.
remember, because this wasn't ready when you and I met. So I said,
Hmm.
yeah,
I
it wasn't.
remember.
Said, well, sister, I'm going to make something for you sisters out there. So then now I took my time and put Truly Melanin Presents Self Care Sundays by Hezzy. What are self care Sundays, you may ask? It is a day that we focus on one simple task: to take extra care of our mind, body, and soul, to stay healthy and elevated is our goal. Okay. So this one really is talking about mental health. It's
Hmm.
talking about wellness, the importance of staying mentally fit, staying healthy. So this is what Self Care Sunday is about. This will be at Toronto Black owned by next Friday. Not next Sunday,
Ooh.
officially next Sunday. And and then the website is coming this week. So
Okay.
I definitely will be making a lot of noise when that comes. You'll be checking it on the IG live, or the IG. Maybe I will go live. Yep.
Hey, there's nothing wrong going live. There's
So we'll
nothing
go
going live.
exactly. So we'll put it up there. But all of you elevated ones guaranteed will know about trulymelanin.com this week. A lot of goodies are coming. So we definitely want you guys to get it.
Awesome.
Okay.
So now I want to ask this question: how do
Hmm.
you do self care on a Sunday? You personally,
Me
just
personally.
you. Yes, yes, yes.
Just me. I love, well, I'm on a farm and I love
Oh
nature.
yes, yes, yes.
So I'm always taking walks. I'm always
Okay.
taking walks. I was outside just earlier on today. I love taking walks. I love my
Mm-hmm.
solitude. I
Yes.
can flex with everybody, but I like to be alone a lot of the time too. So that's how I really take care of my mental health is alone time, prayer, reasoning with the Most High, and then writing. And we're doing some weightlifting now. My son and I have taken up some weightlifting. So he's really
Nice.
into calisthenics. He's following a guy by the name of Chris Haria. So we start to just do some training around the farm. Maybe he might do a handstand for you something later on. It's all about this, resistance. So he's got me resisting and doing flips and stuff, but the camera won't be able to capture that. But you know what? We do all that stuff over here. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So
It's
yeah,
been a minute since I've done all that as well.
yeah, but yeah. It started back. So that's how we do it. We do walks. We do kettlebell. We do bench press. Yeah,
Yes.
we're just working out over here and feeling good, feeling
So you
blessed.
have acres. You must have acres if you have a farm.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, 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 yes. Yes.
Awesome.
Hmm.
Well, you know what? I appreciate those self care because I try to do them as well.
Hmm.
I know, as you can see, fitness IQ,
Yes.
it does associate with fitness. So
Hmm.
I know with like fitness, it helps your mental state as well.
Yes,
Just
it does.
being able to be calm and that good stuff. So
Hmm.
I'm glad that you take the walks, meditate, and all that great stuff. And is this something that you no, I don't want to say preach, but encourage the youths and adults that you speak to do as well with self
Um,
care?
yes, thank you so much for that all the time. You know, I'm giving you some more background information about myself. We've
Mm-hmm.
also one of the a co-founder of an organization called Elevated Grounds, and Elevated
Okay.
Grounds toured all of Ontario a few years ago, just preaching, as you said, preaching or teaching the same message about self-care and
Mm-hmm.
mental health awareness, and
Yeah.
using drama. So we would do presentations and performance, the performing arts, and we had
Mm-hmm.
a team, and we go all across, and we would have skits, and then we'd have a
Yeah.
talk back session and raising the awareness about mental health. So that was always is always a passion of mine. So I still do it right now. But instead of
Awesome.
working with the whole team, I use my love for writing, a love for rhyming to put
Yes.
that into books so people can take it with the message. You know what I mean? And I wanted to just create something that
Mm-hmm.
can last so we can talk about, wait a second, self care is important. And then some other goodies that I have is talking about some of the self care origins. So,
Okay.
right now, you see a lot of people in the news or in the media talking about yoga, but yoga's origin started off in Egypt. It was called Smwa Tawi, which means the union of two lands. So, it's a whole unification process that our ancestors did. Now, also
Mm-hmm.
talking about paper. If you take a look at paper, what is the word for where paper comes from?
Papyrus.
Papyrus. Okay, so papyrus is the plant that is grown in Egypt. Okay, so
Mm-hmm.
you also see that the original martial arts, were the original martial arts from
Egypt.
Egypt as
And it was
well.
called
Yeah, tatib, or there was
Tatib.
also lotus fighting,
Lotus
or
fighting. And they
pharaonics.
fight
Yeah. So what do they do?
the pharaonic swords and machetes and
Hmm.
Okay. Okay.
So what we
Nice.
do with this information is that we're fusing
Mm-hmm.
African history, world history with
Yes.
mental health and fusing them together, because you're seeing a lot of those in society right now. A lot of people saying, oh, they call it ABR, anti-black racism, and
Mm-hmm.
health. So we're trying to just create a product that, hey, we need to take care of our mental health. But do you know a lot of these strategies that are being promoted all over the world originated in Africa?
Yes, yes. And that's funny you say that because we were the last episode was about bricks and war, not war, world
Mhm.
affairs. So I'm glad we were able to like, transition into before talking about currency and now talking about mental health because those are, two important things that are able to empower and encourage the youths.
Mm.
And what are some advice that you would have for, or no, wait, hold on.
Yeah, take your time. Take your time.
When it comes to encouraging the youths, and you said through drama,
Yeah.
mm, is it just drama or is it different aspects? Because you have drama and
Mhm.
books. So
Mhm.
what is your popular one or the one that you see that you're more fulfilled, and which
Mhm.
one is like I have to keep doing this so it's show face and stuff.
Perfect. Okay, so I'm going to answer it like this. When we first started off Elevated Grounds, the main focus was drama. So we
Okay.
had a whole play, we had a skit, and all
Mm.
that. Now we have moved to literacy. So we've moved to the books where I come in, and now that's my comfort zone. Most of them aren't comfort zone, but
Mhm.
25 plus years educating, I can come in, put a lesson together, work
Yeah.
with other elevated ones in different parts of the world, and just
Mm-hmm.
create environments where we can safe spaces that we can talk about mental health, talk about strategies, and looking for solutions. Especially in if you want to talk about our Black community, our BIPOC community, there's a lot of stigma pertaining mental health. We don't talk about it. Oh, this person, why them head ton mad, them sick, and all this kind of stuff. Dapia tech them, right? So it's just that we have to start to get to a place where we are able to use the proper vernacular to access the resources that we need, right?
Exactly.
So that's what
And
I'm
not say
teaching.
dopey.
Yeah, exactly. They're going to emergency or whatever. Why don't we attack them, right? So we have to just be able to start using the proper words, and then so we can access the system appropriately. So okay, somebody suffering or dealing with anxiety, is somebody depressed, right? Is somebody is having a psychotic event, schizophrenia, psychosis. There's all these different type of things that are going on in our community, and we have to make sure that we're able to label them and then
Yes.
get the people the appropriate help that they need, right? So that is one thing that I really want the young people to really understand is it's okay to feel, just be in tune, know thyself. Again, another mindset that's coming out of Africa, right? Know thyself, coming out of ancient Egypt too, right? So it's like that's where the awareness comes in. So I want young people to be aware of how they feel, and if they're not feeling optimum, because I'm going to give some history now with a three-pronged system of mental health. You have your feelings, your actions, and your thoughts. So mental health is a balance of those three. So if you're not feeling your greatest, if your actions are off and your thoughts are off, where will you go? Who are your support systems? So we want this to be more of a preventative measure of you getting help before then there's a crisis and then you have to bring everybody else to help you, right? So I want prevention is better than cure.
Can you say them one more time so I
Perfect.
can? So
Perfect.
feelings.
Okay, I'm gonna do like this. I remember it always. I make it an acronym.
Okay, got it.
Fat. F, feelings. A, actions. T, thoughts. So whenever you look at mental health, fat, okay, you're going to take in those three things, and it's a balance. There's a balance in those. That's what you're trying to do. And you have good mental health. It's okay. Those things are balanced. My feelings are balanced. When you see me, how I'm acting, you're acting really good, and your thoughts are balanced. But if now you want to go on the other side of the spectrum, you're going to see somebody's feelings are off. How you feeling? I'm not feeling so good, man. Actions. So you're not coming out to play with anybody. You're not coming to self-care Sundays. And your thoughts, I have some real low thoughts. You know what I mean? So ways that we can do a self-assessment. And then now the real question now in our community in Canada, Ontario, where can we go and get those resources? So we really want to make sure that when we're teaching young people is that they know where they can go. So this is what the kind of work that we were doing with Elevated Grounds earlier on, which we're still doing again, is just bringing that awareness. So we would go to different parts of the province and then say, hey, we're going to go build a wellness plan with you. And we did a skit.
Yes.
If somebody was not feeling great or whatever, we do that in the skit. And we show if this person was behaving this way in this part of the city, where would this person get these resources? And young people, I don't know. And so now we start to build that together. Oh, we're going to go call Miss Camille. They're going to go call this. And then we start to really build up their system, their wellness system, their team.
And it's great that you have it as a skit and also relating it with the topic that you mentioned, because not only can the kids see that and experience, and they most likely have experienced it, but now you're having a solution. And it's always great to have a solution with certain things. And resources are key. When you know where to go, you can do better.
Yes.
Right. And so we have the drama and skits, and then we have the books. I'm going to say books like that. I'm sorry.
No, it's okay.
Sorry.
No, but yes, we eased off the skits, and most of the focus is now self-care Sundays. But you know what? You gave me an idea, so
let me hit that. Or is this afterwards?
No. I could bring them back. Employ the skits again. I think that's it. You know what I mean? So yeah, we always use drama. I'm a drama teacher as well, so I gotta be careful. I don't say I love drama, but I love teaching the subject drama. Right. Okay. So I want to clarify that.
We don't want no bacchanal, no
exactly.
drama around here.
No around business. It's just straight up education for the niche.
Yes, of course. Right. And then I remember the one thing I remember you and Christopher talking about is as being educators and reaching out to the at-risk youths. Because remember, we had the conversation, like, one of the this is like in my like core, like this is something my mom taught me, like if you want to help kids with financial literacy, it's not too late for the adults, but it's better to go to the kids because they can grasp things better.
Yes. Yes.
And I really am, and of course we've talked about it, and just forming a way to reach to the kids. And is there something, like, is there any advice that you would give like parents that have like at-risk kids on how to change that path? I know you have those two options, but do you do like one-on-ones or workshop? And I know you're a life coach too.
Yes, yes, yes. So yeah, we were starting the one-on-ones, you know what I mean? When you see the website and everything, I'm gonna start promoting that a little bit more. But I also go into the schools and communities and just talk to people about the topic we're talking about is if it's at-risk youth or any youth who are having any issues with mental health. So just going right back to what we've used to do, we refer them out. My wife is a therapist, so she has a master's in social work. So she is able to take on people from a therapeutic standpoint, which can deal with things of their history. I'm now,
Yes.
by the next few weeks, I should be graduating my life coaching certification. So the focus,
Hooray.
boom, 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 keep elevating, right? But if we go back on topic, is just to help the people with life coaching is to go forward. So as a
Yes.
team, if you want to get to, my wife, she's a therapist. She can help the young people, you know what I mean? Look at some of the past traumas with the certain things that she's been trained in EFT, emotional freedom techniques, which is tapping, which is also connected back to reflexology, which you can see at ancient ancestors. Egyptians also practice that too. So this is the kind of things that I'm teaching in these workshops, that some of these strategies are in our DNA already, and we just
Yes.
have to go and unlock the power that lies there within us. So that's what
Okay.
we do. I just teach young people really about prevention. And,
Prevention's, yep.
prevention. So they've got to know in our community now. I'm going to talk a little, just take a little bit of a tangent, but sometimes many of the people with mental health issues or struggling mental health issues, they are dealing with it in something like called a concurrent disorder. So that would
Okay.
mean that they have something underlying and they
Yes.
want to treat it maybe with alcohol. They might have treated it with ganja. They want to treat it with something, but it's really exacerbating the
Yeah.
underlying issue.
Okay.
So they're not getting to the root. They're just adding something else on top of it and then really opening up portals and doorways of more pain into their lives because they're not getting to the real root issue. So a lot of these things we have to just normalize as you're doing is that, the show that says the orange is the new black, healthy is the new black. And that's what we really have to just normalize in our community, that it's okay to get help. It's okay to go see a therapist. It's okay to, elevate and do things and not continue on a treacherous path that has not brought us anything but pain and destruction.
Yeah. I'm glad you mentioned that. It's funny you say that because I literally had a conversation like that today. And it's the same way when I talk about most of our parents or the older
Mhm.
generation didn't know about financial literacy.
Mhm.
So how were they able to communicate things? But they also didn't learn about mental health or
Right.
finding way or therapy.
Right.
They literally had to like twist wrist or ankles and all that good stuff just to get people into therapy. But
Mhm.
then if that's the case, how are you able to convincing a youth to think about therapy, how are you able to convince the adults of that child to consider therapy? Because there's probably going to have to be like family therapy
Yes.
just for able to maneuver
Yes.
correctly.
Yes. So what I always like to do is I always just phrase things as an overall phrase. What does success look like? And once we're able to start to think what success looks like, there are steps that we have to take to make that a reality. So
Mm-hmm.
if you're saying that the young person understands that Usually, if it's family, like, hey, this is what is needed. Is this what success looks like to you? So coming
Yes.
from, my background education, like we would always work with the families. You know what I
Yes.
mean? And sometimes
Yes.
it's like the parents want to get the help because they start to realize in their mind, they're like, wait a second, this is not healthy. This is
Mm,
not the way to be. So it's like help. And when people really get to that phase, they don't care where they get the help from. They know they need help, right? So
true.
it's when people start to understand that they need help, they start to become self-aware that they're
Yes.
not doing well or the child is
Mm,
not doing well, then they start to reach out, either to be, churches or religious institutions or schools. People, once you know you need help, you're going to scream to the mountaintops until you get help, right?
that's true.
Mhm,
So
mhm.
I'm glad you mentioned that. Do you find that it's a younger parents per se, or like what is it, not the baby boomers, and then I'll say don't Gen X, are you saying that those are the ones that you normally find that they're like they need help and they're screaming out for the help?
I think it's really all of humanity right now because officially, when
Okay.
we look at the statistics, there is a mental health crisis all
Mm,
across the planet. If
correct.
you want to go back that up with statistics, you go to the World Health Organization, you can look at things online. So it's
Hmm.
everybody, and especially coming out of the, COVID-19 situation, is that people are suffering in silence. People are suffering. That was a very traumatic thing on the whole planet, right? So people definitely need outlets to talk about that,
Yes.
recalibrate their lives, right? So
Hmm.
that's one thing because that really did divide families. Some families that were together, families were not together after that incident. There was a lot of stress,
Mm,
financial strain. So we have to just realize that we just can't skirt over what happened the last 3 years and just kind of like, oh, everything's over now. Like, no, that was a major, major thing that happened in our lifetime. And it affects people differently,
absolutely.
and we just have to be aware and be able
Hmm.
to have the uncomfortable conversations to bring healing. So
Yes.
once we start doing that and normalizing that healthy is the new black, healthy is the way to go, elevation to every nation, that's how we're going to have to operate. And that's just what has to happen, and we have to start having these conversations about how are you feeling,
Yes.
even as men, talking about Father's Day and that season, and you're celebrating the men. We have to challenge ourselves to get
Hmm.
out of these mindsets that don't serve us, that can
Yes.
come from the culture scape that lets us say men just keep it in. That's why on average men die earlier than their spouses. It's statistically there. So we got to start saying that, hey man, if you want to be around your spouse for a while, you'll be around here. We got to start to take a look at some of our statistics. You know what I mean? And so
Hmm.
part of it, we can't keep everything in. Whatever this pseudo manhood that somebody puts on us, we have to start challenging some of these things if it's not really serving us in this particular time. So
But how
we
would they know if it's not serving them or not?
Perfect. Okay, so I always go back to, okay, what is success? If you are feeling sick, but you
Hmm.
have this mindset that why doctor Babylon business, right? So if you now want to come with a mindset like that and don't see any type of doctor, I'm not talking to say it's got to be Western MD, but if you want to see any doctor, but if you just have a mindset that is just like, I'm not gonna see the doctor, so how is that going to help your family, your situation, right? So you got to start to take a look. Like now, again, I'm over 40 plus years old in our community. There is something called I don't say the C word, but prostate C rhymes with dancer, right? So you can see that we got to get some stuff done after 40. Now, if you
Yep.
choose not to do that, you got family members who are going to miss you. You got a spouse who's going to miss you. You got friends going to miss you. So sometimes it's not all
Absolutely.
about you. You know what I mean? But if we have a mindset that doesn't serve us,
Yeah.
well, what's that really going to help? You know what I mean? And then you're gone early, but you's a man. Like, what the heck's that about? You know what I mean? So, we got
Golly.
to break down some of these negative mindsets that don't help the community, right? So this is where now we have the power. The power of now is to be
Hmm.
like, no, this is not serving me. This is a notion that came from somewhere else. Challenge it, and then do something different.
Yeah.
Hmm.
Exactly. And I wanna. I'm glad you mentioned that because I wanna say that big up Andre Rose. He discussed about that earlier.
Hmm.
He's the board director of, or one of the board of directors of the Walnut foundation. So, and that's giving awareness about prostate cancer. And I know the walk was today. It
Yeah.
was so jam packed, but I was there in spirit,
Mm-hmm.
and I'm glad that you mentioned that because the amount of some, I'm not gonna say all, amount of men that don't want to check on their physical health is very scary because there it would be nice to see fathers, young fathers, watch their children grow to a good age,
Right.
and that's just me thinking of friends, guy friends that have passed, and so um, thinking about them as well, but
Mm-hmm.
also just trying to find that encouragement. So I love that you said, "What is success to you?" Because I think it's really important to have that discussion with men, and I don't know why it. I feel like it's getting better, but I feel like they're still bottling up things inside. Like I don't want to express things, but I know also there's a reason for that as well, is because sometimes society or women weaponize that. And I want to talk to the ladies.
Mm-hmm.
Stop doing that.
Me too. Thank you. Thank you. I got to speak to that.
And
Mm-hmm.
I don't, for like us, and you know, I hate society, but for us to be to like to form together stronger, we need to be in a perfect world to be more trustworthy to each other, because that's the only way that we're able to grow
You
in
got
a
it.
sense,
You got it. You got
um,
it.
and empowering each other,
You got it.
right?
You got it. And I want to jump on that right here.
Hmm.
Love
Yes.
artwork. And you see that here, right? This is also the representation of balanced energy.
Mm,
Balance. You understand you've got your masculine energy and you got your female energy, your feminine energy. There needs to be balance. And especially now,
brilliant.
what you were talking about is the weaponization of the brothers being vulnerable. And
Hmm.
I can't take that now. Thank you very much. The weaponization of being vulnerable. So when this is now when we have to start building trust, because in a
Yes.
culture, we're going to talk about the culture scape of the West Indian household, right? Upon generations. And before we got to West Indies, we were in West Africa and all over the place. So you guys start to see that there was a great disturbance in our parenting. So you got to understand that with that great disturbance, part of
Hmm.
that disturbance called slavery didn't really allow for strong familial links to really be passed on. You could be here one day,
Yes.
you can die one day, you can get sent off somewhere else. So, there's a lot of different issues that,
Mm.
you don't talk, you can't talk, you can't express how you feel, and you're going to end up on a tree. You know what I mean? So there's a whole culture of
Hmm.
suppression. And the statistics and the evidence is saying that it does come through the DNA and it still gets passed on
Mm.
generationally, right? So we have a lot of work to do, but the power of now is when we get to this knowledge of self as being melanated brothers, we can say, you know what, this has to stop. You know
Yes.
what I mean? And then we got to tell our sisters, hey, man, if I'm going to be vulnerable to you, you
Hmm.
can't now weaponize it because, again, you're causing disbalance, disharmony. So sisters also have to start to be like, oh, if they want all these type of men and all this type of stuff in the relationships, they got to see,
Hmm.
are they that person to attract that? If they want a new normal where there's love and everyone gets to be vulnerable and gets to be safe, are you creating a safe environment? If you
True.
weaponize, even the word weapon is bringing harm. So you're going to start weaponizing our vulnerability. That's not a safe place. And that's when the men bounce. And
Yeah.
then, oh, it's not safe. Who's going to stay in an unsafe place? So if
Yeah.
they really want to learn where the men at, don't make an unsafe environment. You understand? And so then the brother will come home.
Both.
Both.
Both
Both.
parties
Oh,
should.
you better believe
Yeah.
both. I can go next way and say, brothers, we better make safe environments so she'll find herself back. Right? So it's both.
Sorry.
Right? But at least even this, right? Yeah, we gotta have these conversations, right? Brothers and sisters
Absolutely.
gotta be able to be like, hey man, y'all's acting wild. And the sisters be like, y'all acting wild. Why are we acting crazy? You know what I mean? It's been 3 years locked up with y'all, so we gotta talk about this stuff. Y'all's crazy. We crazy too, right? So we
Ah,
what's
let's be
going on?
crazy together.
Yeah,
In a healthy way, of
in a healthy
course.
way. And perfect. Now we got to be like, what's healthy look like? Because healthy looks different for every single person. So am I just going to go and take a look at my favorite TV show and let the TV show dictate what healthy looks like to me? Or I have to now look at myself as an individual, know myself, know my spouse, know my wife, and then now make that normal. And then you have to now normalize what your healthy looks like. So there's a part of just recognizing your individuality and recognizing what safe looks like for you. And these conversations with the other books that I'm coming with down the line is going to be talking on these topics. It's going to force families to talk about what is safe. What does a friend look like? What does a healthy relationship look like? Because we have a lot of messed up programming in our community, right? In my box your tree time, tell you love you, like we have to we laugh, but like where's the program?
That's my awkward laugh. That's my
I know
awkward
it's
laugh.
like, oh my gosh, I thought we are talking about money. Okay, sorry, I'll wheel it back.
Nah,
Let's talk about fitness finance, But it's like, yo, this is the community talk,
Yes.
And that's the kind of stuff I'm bringing. I ain't bringing this to the schools, right? But I'm bringing the openness with a sister that, that this is what needs to happen if we are trying to create a new normal. You have to now get comfortable with being uncomfortable. We have to be those leaders who break the generational curses and say enough's enough. Yes. You know what I mean? So these are just my 3 cents, and fitness finance here today,
But I love how you said the new normal.
Yes.
And we might go down a path that might be off, but it's okay. So what do you think is the new normal? Because obviously the world's changing.
Yes, ma'am.
And I know, and I'm not gonna make it go way crazy, but how can we adapt to that new normal? Because and you said the balance, and I know, let's go with the balance. Like, is the balance efficient enough for this new norm that's happening?
Perfect. Thank you very much for that question. Now, again, when we talk about new normal, we have to define our terms, right? So what is the new normal? Like, as we're talking right now, is the new normal that we are normalizing disrespect? Are we normalizing things like that? Or are we now saying what the last thing I studied about marriage is about 55% of breaking up relationships? Is that the new normal that we want to continue? Or are we now in our relationships and just our health? Talking about the Walnut Foundation. My father's a part of that foundation too. So big up.
Small world.
But I want to bring that right back to what is normal. Yes. So when I'm looking now at the artwork, because whenever you look at artwork in any particular time of period, it's reflecting a mindset, a psyche that's coming through individuals and bringing it back out into the world, right? So what I'm seeing in new normal, a renaissance that's taking place is just love, self-love. You see that in the artwork. When you start to see any movement of love, you're going to start to see things come out in the music. You're going to start to see things come out in the artwork. So whenever you start to take a gauge of the artwork, we're seeing low vibrational stuff. We're talking about killing all this stuff. We're tired of that. So then now there's going to be an emergence, especially coming out of the COVID-19 situation, of more love books, more books that even the psychological, you see that heart, we're dealing with love. We're talking about geniuses. We're talking about, elevation. You're talking about you can be, it's all elevation. So now we have to decide as the individual, what new normal do we want? I'm dealing with elevation. I'm dealing with the high vibrations. I'm dealing with love, peace, and hair grease, right? So we're dealing with vibes. Yes. So then now what people have to decide is be intentional on what world that they want to create. Even though there's been a shift, people are shifting on elevation. Yes. You can see that the way people are talking and moving, you are going to start to see that shift. If you want to stick with low vibes and talk all about that, you do that. But I firmly feel my statements, I'm saying, I'm seeing people move with a sense of urgency, especially the Canadians, because we've been locked down the longest from a world global context. So other people are outside reasoning we're still on lockdown. That's going to have an impact on your psyche that's going to make you say, you know what? Once I'm freed out of this thing, I've got to go after what I've got to go after. Because it taught the whole world that no man knows the minute nor the hour of when they're going to be free to do anything. So I believe there's starting to be an urgency. I'm starting to write off 3 books. I got 4 books ready. As I said, man, you and I were the last interview, many, because we don't know. And then when you start to look at yourself as an elevated one, I've made a decision to embody elevation. You
Yeah.
understand? So I got my song. You got that. You just got to make sure that you are that active creator in the world that you want to create.
With high
Yeah,
vibration.
high
Because
vibration.
there's some foolishness going on in this world, like with the, don't get me wrong, I like some of the hip hop and the
Mm,
R&B.
mm,
However, I was listen when I was at an event the other day, um at the Black Moms Connections
mm,
event.
mm,
Rooks was speaking, and she mentioned that she no longer listens to certain songs
mm,
that is negative,
mm,
because that goes into your psyche, and
mm,
it's true. Because if
mm,
anyone knows, I love SZA.
mm.
But obviously, when you're listening to those type of songs, it's filling those type of negativity into you. So it's great to have high vibration songs,
Mhm,
read high vibration
mhm,
articles,
mhm,
indulge in things that is going
mhm,
to educate your mind.
mhm,
And so we
mhm.
have to like, um is it relearn or de-learn the things that we learned in the past, and
Yeah,
then reprogram our
reprogramming.
yes. And
Mhm.
it's I find it's really tricky right now, but I don't know why, because the pandemic was the most it either made you or broke you. And I'll say some people were able to overcome and thrive
Mhm, mhm.
in the pandemic, and I'm just wondering what will it take for others to follow suit, because now we're outside, the weather nice and everything.
Right, 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 right.
And I'm just and I love that you are using artwork positively, using artwork to bring out that, because I think it's needed, because I find that, or do you find that most people navigate to art than other things?
Yeah, that's a very good question. Now, I think all of us, it's how we use the art. Right? You dropped a lot of heavy stuff. You talked about SZA and stuff like that. It's what the individual really needs at the particular time, because music, as Bob Marley said, when it hits you, you feel no pain. We use it in for different needs. Like if we want to medicate ourselves, we want to catch a vibration, you're listening to music. So that's one thing that you find that's unified. People have some kind of music that they resonate and they vibe with.
Yes.
So are they going to go to art? Yes. Art is, I firmly believe, a reflection of what's going on in the mind, right? And
Mm,
you can see that when that other sister, Rooks, you said, is recognizing there's a state of awareness that's taking place in that sister who has a sense of influence over others and telling people that, wait a second, man, we can't continue to do this, because if the person then becomes knowledgeable of themselves,
yes.
they do not want to indoctrinate themselves with low vibrations, because you're going to see it in my next books. By the end, in a matter of days, you're going to see it in my website. But the
Yes.
power of repetition. Let's just think, I'm just going to make up a song right now. Let's just freestyle.
Okay,
Yeah,
I knew it was coming. I didn't want to say it.
exactly.
But
But
I knew
I'm
it.
gonna use it as an example. Okay, I'm just gonna like,
Okay.
do it for fun, teaching. All right. I'm gonna make up a song. I'm gonna tell you everything that's wrong. I'm gonna do it all night long. It's gonna go in your brain. I'm gonna tell you spend all your money on a chain. I'm gonna tell you to act so dumb. I'm gonna make you come drink some rum. I'm this. Period. That was fun. Made it up on the spot. Not serious. I'm gonna use it to illustrate a point.
Yes.
But when you start saying stuff, and then when I said I'm or I am, there's so
Yes.
much power in your I am statements, right? So if you now play that song on the radio 3 times every hour, I want to drink some rum, have some fun, and just keep pushing that into youth's mind. Yo, Bridget, you heard that song? I'm DUMB, and right? It goes in
Yeah.
their brain. It's
Absolutely.
strategically, and then people
Mm-hmm.
now go to bed and they play the music, and then they go into something called the theta state, and that's when it goes right into your subconscious mind. So it's high science that these brothers were into, but we're
Mm-hmm.
using low vibrations. So then now, if I'm like, I'm so smart, my energy's coming from my heart. This is something that I gotta say that I can't play because I'm a superstar. I go very far. I won't spend all my money on a car because it's a liability. Talk with me. You're chilling with Hezzy. Elevation to every nation. It gives me sensation. I tell the youths for elevation. Checking 10 years at your graduation. I look off my glasses. I make the passes. I make you laugh. I teach paragraphs. I keep freestyling on the islands. Like, you know what I mean? You just flip it quick.
Exactly.
You see the next line? That brings a smile. Smile takes 17 muscles to do that. It releases chemicals through the body. So we're dealing with elevation. We're dealing with high science.
Yes.
Even the reason why I put this on your chest, this shirt's coming out in a few days too. This is high science right here.
Yes.
If you check the science on words and how they put it on plants, and they see certain plants died because they had some negative words on it. Other plants survived and thrived.
Yes.
This is high science. We're dealing with high elevation. So you're putting this on your chest. You got your heart here, your stomach, your solar plexus, different regions of the body that are affected by words.
Yes.
That's why we're staying elevated. It's a whole movement that we're dealing with. So I'm just bringing that back to what you were talking about, is being conscious. And once the person makes a decision of what success looks like for them, then every single behavior has to undergird what success looks like for them. Exactly. So if I want to be a basketball star and I want to go to NBA, I am not going to take all of my time and play hockey, because I want to take all my time to play basketball. So then you can now look at your actions and see, if you take your actions and times it by 365, where are you going to be next year? If everything's there, there's so many uncontrollable things. But if you're on the planet for another year and you do this behavior, where are you going to be? And so I want to normalize, when I go into schools and this conversation, is a thought process. Do we have the ability to make a sound decision? Decision making is a skill. Do we know how to assess a situation? But when you have at the forefront of your mind what success looks like, it's easier for you to say yes. It's easier for you to say no to things, because you're walking in your purpose. And this is what Hezzy Elevates Minds gets to the root at. Every single person is a genius. Every single person, has to take care of themselves. Every single person can be anything they put their mind to. So once we normalize that conversation, once we understand that, then it can help with decision making.
Yes. I like that. I didn't want to tell the folks that we were gonna get a freestyle, but I knew it was gonna come.
Yeah, they keep coming. I practice them with these guys, and then the spirit takes me in, and I go different places. Because when I try to do it by myself, sometimes I get nervous. Yeah, with myself. But then when the Most High just jumps in, it just comes out.
That's what I'm feeling. And also, because I have to remember that, the point of this amazing platform is that we want folks to learn what people learned from the past, or what was 3 things you wish you knew about personal finance back in the day.
Let's go back. You know what I mean? I think really big is, I'm going to drop the whole thing. I wanted to make sure that I had some savings. If I knew that I would have kept savings at the forefront, which allowed. So I already think about this budgeting, and he was doing some studies too. So maybe I'll go and ask him budgeting.
Yes.
So really understand the importance of budgeting, making sure that savings are in place. And then for investing. Now, this brother went and grabbed the book. You want to show everybody the book that you're working on?
Sure.
Go ahead. So he's working on this. This is Black Millionaires of Tomorrow by Dr. Watkins. So is there one thing that you want to tell the elevated ones outside there in the fitness finance team? Anything that you want to see you learn from this book so far? One thing that you've learned.
About investing and assets.
Assets
and liabilities.
Ooh, wait.
People about that? You want to share to the elevated ones? Tell them something you know.
Well, an asset is something that brings you money, and a liability where you just spend money.
Yeah.
And how old are you, sir?
10.
Oh, Listen, folks. Listen. There are some folks that don't even know that. But
Mhm.
I'm glad that your son at age 10 realizes the difference between assets and liabilities, because once he knows it, it's going to be in his forefront and
Mhm.
he's going to succeed in that. So the minute you said assets, I was like, okay. It makes me excited. Like,
Mhm.
it, I don't know about, well, obviously because he's your son, but when I hear children talk about personal finance or financial literacy, it brings me so much joy,
Mhm.
because I know that, as with all the mess that's happening in the world,
Mhm.
as long as we keep them focused on that,
Mhm.
everything will be okay, because they
Yeah.
are the future,
Yes,
right?
they are. Yeah, and I think, and now you jogged my memory and something I
Mhm.
want to say. We're talking about what's the new normal. The
Yes,
new normal now is teaching the next generation things that we don't know, right? So if I'm like, oh man, I never knew about that, that shouldn't get passed on through another generation. So
absolutely.
another thing now is generational thinking. They say the people who
Ah,
are out there 7 generations thinking. I'm like, okay, I gotta live my best life for me, yes. But I have 3 offspring the Most High blessed me with. I gotta now go and be an example. So when they could, daddy taught us this, mommy taught us this. So then now they don't need all those years. So when they come up to your show in a few years, they're not going to be like, oh, I wish I knew about what an asset was and take 40
exactly.
years to get to that. So then they're going to tell you something else, right? So
Hmm.
we got to now, close the gap, the success gap, all that kind of stuff that's in our community. So I really feel that education is that thing that can really elevate your life. So
So true.
whatever gap I start to realize, oh my goodness, you better, whatever thing that took me too long or something that I'm not great at,
Hmm.
hey, you young people, go and learn this. So that's part of my fire and my
Yes.
passion is to tell the young people,
Yes.
hey, you can do anything you want. So I can tell you that, but when you start seeing these goodies and things that we're going to start dropping soon, it's going to be like, oh, okay. Like I can tell you that all day, but if they look at your life and be like, what did you do? But it's like,
Mm.
hey, boom, we're writing books, we're elevating, we're going to different places and telling people the same message. There's a guy that can mess with you. You know what I mean? So
Yes.
that's really what it is.
That's
Mhm.
I'm loving it. And what so we've talked about the 3 books that you have, and
Mhm.
then you have a website. Is there any other lovely avenues or things that are in the come up
A lot of
that
things in
people
the
must
come up, sister.
know?
But you know what we do over here at Hezzy Elevates Minds with the team? The
Mhm.
element of surprise. As a storyteller,
Ooh.
I just know that this week,
Yes.
look for Instagram.
Okay.
We're gonna be cooking up some stuff coming from the farm, throwing some things in the Instagram world.
Mm.
I just want you to say, you know what? Just write me when you see something coming, and I'll say, hey, that's it. I'll go on a live and say, hey, fitness finance, this is for you. That'll be the code. I'll say this. Yeah.
All right, all right. I love it. I love it. And
Mhm.
Hizzy, how can the folks find you? Because I have to. I think you could put it in the chat.
Oh, okay.
So I could put it in the story notes. And I'm loving this platform because of
I'm
the
loving
things
it
I
too.
can do.
Mhm. Put that there. Hezzy Elevates Minds.
Mm,
This is coming soon.
yes.
TrulyMelanin.com. All
Okay.
right. So that project, ooh, just going to give it to you and the people there. Things are coming.
Mm-hmm.
Whole story about what's coming. I can't. It's just these guys, these ones. They told me that they're going to be doing some special stuff, so I'm just gonna shh. Like I can't talk about too much. But
No worries. No worries.
these characters, they got some stuff coming for everybody. So
Scene. So I'll
mhm.
put both of them. So make sure y'all check it out. And Hizzy, I appreciate you, sir. And I know we're gonna chat offline because
Mhm.
we still have things to form up.
Of
It's
course,
just tax season was crazy, and I
yeah,
really appreciate you for being patient with me
of course. Thank you.
and understanding
Of course, that's
and
how
all
it has
that
to
great
be,
stuff.
man.
Is there anything you'd like to tell the folks before we leave?
Yeah, just stay elevated. You can do anything you put your mind to. I'm so grateful for this opportunity. And you all are elevated ones. All of you are shining the light. Truly Melanin shall be ready by the end of the week. I'll let everybody know. I just wanted to just put it out there. I want you guys to look out for that and make that go live and just You can do anything you put your mind to. I want you to stay elevated. Thank you, Camille, for this opportunity. You know what I mean? Just creating a space where we can talk and elevate the nation. So thank you so much for that.
Absolutely. Thank you so much, Hezzy. And because I'm not going to struggle this time, we're going to send out with Andre's Ting because he's still around.
Good.
Even though he's,
Financial literacy, knowledge is a must. So link the flip boss, watch the result flash, and watch your life change. And for a better cause, you have a business or a plan and want to make it. Yeah, flip and floss, so they want to manifest it. Yeah, and if you want to better manage all your credit, call the boss. Flip and floss, no doubt, then we do it. Yeah, flip and floss, money literacy boss. Yeah, greatness in our blood because we're working for your cause. Flip and floss, money literacy boss. Yeah, boots up your knowledge for your minimal cost. Hey, yeah, flip and floss, money literacy boss. Greatness in our blood because we're working for your cause. Flip and floss, money literacy boss. Yeah, up your knowledge for your minimal cost.